every day you wake up, you need to realize as Christians, we have pockets of chaos in our lives. You were created to reflect his glory, not chase after your own glory. There are huge, I don't even need to explain how bad it is when you start chasing your own glory. You know it's wrong. You're not here to build your own kingdoms. You're here to reflect his kingdom. You're here to mirror or image his glory. God didn't create the world and walk away. He built a cosmic temple over 6 days. He brought order to chaos. He filled creation with life. On the seventh day, he entered it and he made it holy. His glory filled creation. The image bearers are created to represent that glory in everything we say, think, do, anything we do. If you're not reflecting his glory in what you do, it's sin. And that's it. You were created to reflect his glory, not chase your own. Think about your career. Why did you choose it? Was your primary reason to steward your gifts for God's glory, or was it for salary, status, respect, whatever? What about your parenting? You certainly love your children, but are you pushing them too hard? I've seen this in sports until I can throw up. I've seen it so much. Why does your child's success matter so much to you? Because it's about your glory. Or do you want their achievements to reflect the glory of God? It's a big difference in those two things. Why'd you get married? Was it to display the glory of God's covenant to a covenant love to a watching world? Or did you get married because you wanted to fulfill your desires and be happy? Listen, I'm not saying every single thing you ever do is just totally, utterly selfish. It may sound like that, but that's not what I'm saying. You work hard, and I know you provide for your family, and that's really good. You celebrate your kids' achievements, and that's really good. You post pictures on social media, and there's nothing wrong with it. Of course, so long as the pictures are appropriate. But the question isn't whether you do these things. The question is, why are you doing them? That's the question. Are you working to steward God's gifts, or are you working to build a reputation or to build your bank account? Are you celebrating your kids because you want God's glory to shine in what they've accomplished, or because their success makes you look good as mom and dad? The issue isn't the activity. The issue is the heart behind the activity. I think you clearly know the difference. You know when you're doing something to reflect God's glory, and you know when you're doing something to reflect your own. You were created, your sole reason for God creating you was to reflect God's glory, not to chase your own. Simply, our problem is self-glory. But you can't just say, I quit. I won't do it anymore. I'll do everything for God's glory. John Owen says it very simply, a man may easier see without eyes, speak without a tongue, than truly mortify one sin without the Spirit. In other words, you can't just say, I'm going to do it. I'm not going to do it anymore. You can't say, I'm going to stop living for my glory and start living for God's glory. If it were that easy, we would all just stop sinning. Beloved, the truth is that we are all broken. We are broken fundamentally, and we are deeply fractured, every one of us. And no amount of self-help, trying harder with good intentions, is going to fix you. So we got to go back to Genesis 1 once again. Remember where we started. The earth was without form, and it was void. The darkness is over the face of the deep. Did creation fix itself? Did the formless void organize itself? Did the darkness generate its own light? Obviously not. God spoke into it and created something and brought order. He brought order to the chaos. The earth contributed nothing. It received everything. God did all the work. You see, we are the ones that are formless, and we are the ones that are void. We are the ones that are dark. We've spent our entire lives creating that void and darkness in us, chasing our own glory. That's what it does to you. It leaves you empty and disordered and restless. And my guess is We've all tried to fix it on our own. Every one of us has tried to fix all that discomfort that's in us. Just read the right books, make the right resolutions on New Year's Day, implement the right habits. But guess what? You and I are both glory chasers, and we're still glory chasing. There are parts of your life that you are glory chasing, and there are parts of my life that I'm doing the same thing. I was built to do this, literally. My whole life was formed to do this very thing. You think it's all gone out of me? No chance. But you were created, God's saying, to reflect God's glory, not chase your own. Now, Christians in this entire room know exactly what I'm saying is 100% true. If you're a non-Christian sitting in this room, you may be listening to me saying, I don't understand anything this guy's saying. It doesn't make any sense to me at all. Well, let me try to simplify it the best I can. Your life is filled, just like mine used to be outside Jesus Christ, for fulfilling my own glory. And the Bible says very simply, if that's the life you are going to lead, you are going to be formless and void and dark, or empty and hopeless. So what do you need to do, very simply? You do not need, I should say, self-improvement. You need resurrection. You need to be recreated. You need to be a new creation, 2 Corinthians 5:17. Jesus tells us in John 3, you need to be born again. This is not a tweaking of your old life. It's not doing something new or reading a new book. It's receiving an entire new life from the God who created all things. But you cannot rebirth or recreate yourself. God must do that in you. And Genesis is going to get far better for us because God didn't just create the world and leave us to figure all of that out. He sent his son, Jesus Christ, who is the perfect image bearer, to do it because we failed in it. Because we're all seeking our own glory. We failed and we fell into sin. And so that's why Jesus was sent. He becomes the image of the invisible God, the radiance of the glory of God, to the exact imprint of God himself. And Jesus did what humanity, broken humanity, was supposed to do. He is the mirror, perfectly reflecting God's glory. And for that, he was killed. He didn't chase his own glory. Jesus lived the life that you were supposed to live, that I was supposed to live. He reflected God's glory perfectly, and they put him to death for it. But that was all part of God's providential plan to die for our sin. He died for your sin, do you see? If you're sitting here as a non-Christian, he died for your sin. You are a broken image bearer. And to go to heaven, you need to be a perfect image bearer. Does that mean I'm a perfect image bearer because I believe I'm going to heaven? Absolutely not even close to the perfect image bearer. But I believe in the one who is. And every Christian in this room believes the same thing I believe. And when we believe in the perfect image bearer, we are then robed in his righteousness, and God sees his image in us rather than seeing us as broken image bearers, and then we are received because of what Jesus did. And it's as simple as you believing by faith in the very perfect image bearer, Jesus Christ, because you're broken, he's not. You then are robed in that righteousness, and then God says, welcome into my kingdom and receive my glory. Believe. Believe if you're sitting here and you don't believe. Believe with all your heart. Christian, you were created to live for his glory. How much more pain do you need in the areas of your life that you don't live for his glory? How much more pain do you need to experience before you realize chasing your own glory is not good? You know the truth. You've read the truth. The truth has been preached to you, but knowing it and living it, you know as well as I do, are entirely different things. So how do you live for God's glory instead of your own? Back to Genesis 1. The earth was formless and void and dark, and God spoke light, and it came and it emerged Life appeared on the seventh day. God's glory filled what he created, and that's what needs to happen to you, believer, every single day. Every day you wake up, you need to realize as Christians, we have pockets of chaos in our lives, places where we will not let God's glory or presence touch us at all. Areas where the void remains, corners that are dark and disordered, where you still chase your own glory instead of reflecting his glory. Beloved, those are the areas that you are going to fall seeking your own glory. Spaces where you hold on to control or you protect your glory, refusing to surrender. That is not why you were created. It is not why I was created. You were created to reflect God's glory, never, ever, ever chase your own. And then you're saying like, well, what happens when I do chase my own? Then you better drop to your knees and plead to Christ's grace to change me into somebody who's reflecting the glory instead of charging after it because I want the glory for myself. You have to let God's presence fill that space in your life. It's not enough to just stop chasing your glory. You have to be filled with his glory. You have to be filled with something greater. That something is God's presence. That is God's glory. And where, I will ask you, in your life, are you a glory chaser? Whether it's your career, your parenting, your reputation, your comfort, you need to ask God to bring light into that area. You need to say, I have been holding on to this and I refuse to let you into this area. I've been using this for my glory, but I realize now I cannot change this on my own. Speak and bring order into my chaos. Fill this void with your presence and with your glory. And then what do you do after you do all that? You keep doing it every day. You read his word, you pray, you confess, you ask, you listen, and God will speak light into your darkness. He will fill what is empty. He'll bring order to the chaos. He'll transform you into a glory chaser, into a glory reflector. This isn't a one-time event. When one void is filled, as you clearly know, another will appear. Darkness will creep back in, and your desire for self-glory will rise up. Every day you say, fill me again. Speak into my darkness again. I cannot do this without you fixing this problem. You see, God created the world by his word, and God recreates you daily by his word. You read the scriptures and light comes into your darkness. You pray, his presence fills your void. You worship and his glory is pushed out, or I should say your glory is pushed out by his glory. You were created to reflect his glory, not chase your own. And the only way that happens is that God's presence fills you, not just at conversion, every day for the rest of your life. This is daily, continually, moment by moment. And the question is, beloved, will you let his glory into those areas where you're not reflecting his glory? Will you stop trying to manage the chaos on your own and let God speak into that area? Will you open the locked doors of your heart and let his presence in? Will you come to him every morning and say, God, fill this void in my life. I am holding on to this with all my being because I want glory and it's messing me up. Speak into my darkness, God. Transform me from a glory chaser to a glory reflector. Let his presence fill what's empty. Let his light invade the darkness. Let his glory replace your glory. Beloved, you were created for one thing. It's really simple. One thing. You were created to reflect God's glory. You were not created to chase your own glory. Plead for his grace in these areas. And I guarantee you, you've experienced this in your life. I guarantee you, he is going to remove your glory and replace it with his glory.